You know that person, right? The one who's just incredibly brilliant, super quick-witted, totally logical, but when it comes to feelings, it's like they're behind this invisible wall. It's a puzzle a lot of us have run into. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the psychology behind it all. Let's get into it. It's a question I think we've all wondered about at some point. You're trying to have this deep, emotional conversation. Maybe you're pouring your heart out. And what you get back isn't empathy, it's a logical breakdown. It can feel really confusing, maybe even a little frustrating. But what if it's not what it seems? So here's the core of what's happening. When they're faced with a big emotion, whether it's their own or someone else's, their first instinct isn't to feel it. Nope, their mind immediately jumps into problem-solving mode. It starts to dissect the feeling, figure out where it came from, and break it down into logical parts. And look, this is why it really matters. In our friendships, with our partners, with our families, this pattern can create a real sense of distance. It's like one person is asking for a hug and the other is handing them a flowchart. That kind of disconnect, it can lead to some major misunderstandings. Okay, so it turns out this isn't just some random personality quirk, it's actually a recognized psychological pattern. We're talking about something we can call the analytic wall, and it's built on a pretty fascinating mental process. The technical term for it is cognitive distancing, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's about creating distance from a feeling by shifting out of your heart and into your head. So instead of being in the emotion, you become an observer of the emotion. Let's really break down the difference here. Experiencing an emotion is direct, it's raw, it's happening to you right now. But analyzing it, that's indirect. It's like stepping out of the movie of your life to sit in the director's chair and critique the scene. You go from being a participant to being an observer. So why? Why does the brain even do this? Why would it choose analysis over just feeling? Well, the answer is actually really simple, and it all comes down to self-preservation. It's about using logic as a shield. Now, we have to be super clear about this. This whole thing isn't born from a cold heart or a lack of caring. Not at all. It's an unconscious defense mechanism. When feelings get too intense and feel overwhelming, maybe even unsafe, the mind's go-to solution is to neutralize that threat with logic. And this happens in a flash, totally under the radar. So step one, boom, a big emotion hits, could be sadness, fear, even intense joy. The brain flags us as, whoa, that's a lot. Step two, instantly, the analytical mind kicks in like a bodyguard. And step three, analysis takes over, basically turning down the volume on the emotion until it feels safe and manageable. But, and this is a huge but, here's the paradox. This really clever self-protection strategy has a major unintended consequence. It creates this deep conflict when it comes to what we all want, deep, meaningful connections. This quote just nails it. The mind builds this incredible analytic wall to keep out the pain of being vulnerable. But a wall is just a wall. It doesn't know the difference between good and bad. So it doesn't just block out pain, it blocks out everything else too, including the love and connection we're all looking for. And you can see how this plays out, right? To everyone else, this person seems distant, maybe even unavailable. They might care a whole lot, but they just can't seem to show it in a way that resonates emotionally. This is where you get those classic arguments where one person says, you just don't feel anything, and the other is thinking, are you kidding? I've been thinking about you and this problem for hours. So with all of this in mind, what do? How do we move forward? Well, it all starts by reframing what we think we're seeing. It's about trying to look past that wall and understand the person standing behind it. This is the absolute truth of it. The analysis, the logic, the problem solving. For them, that is how they show they care. They are pouring a ton of mental energy into you or the situation. Their brain isn't trying to ignore your pain, it's trying to solve it. So the most important thing to remember is this. When you come up against that analytic wall, you are very rarely witnessing a lack of feeling. In fact, it's much more likely to be the exact opposite. It's a surplus of thought. It's a mind working in overdrive to manage an emotion that feels way too powerful to handle. That logic isn't a void, it's a shield. And in a way, it's proof of just how deep the feeling is that they're trying so hard to contain. And that kind of leaves us with one final question to think about. What if we reframed this whole thing? What if that thing we call emotional distance isn't really distance at all, but a mind working overtime to protect a heart that feels so much it's scared it might break? It's a perspective that could honestly change everything.